I spent ages obsessing about my onstage presence. I would worry about how I was coming across. I'd see myself back on camera and think, oh, I was too fidgety. It's too difficult to watch. I'd try and have better slides, better words, better timing. And then I had a moment where I realized that the answer to everything is not performing at an audience, it's performing with an audience. In fact, when you create that moment of delight with the audience where you all have the same thought together or feel the same emotion together, that's it. You're in and the audience will come with you. I remember sitting in a presentation, Snoop, they call it in radio, where the boss said to me, do you know how the difference between connecting and engaging? Connecting is when you bring the audience in and you make a connection, and engaging is when you keep them with you. And it's always stuck in my mind that when you want to connect with an audience, when you want a message to land, you have to do enough that they come to you. They have to do a little bit of work. And that means that when you start a presentation or you start a talk, the best thing that you can do is acknowledge the audience, whether that be with a great question or quote or just a conversation. In our workshops, for example, we have a rule now where no workshop begins unless everyone has spoken, because we want that workshop to be really interactive and for people to feel the learnings as much as get them from us. So how can you make this change in your talks that you're doing with your teams? And how do you as a CEO take advantage of the fact that you can utilize the audience? I think there's a lot of pressure on you as a leader to be very formal, and that letting the audience in feels like you're losing that formality, but it's time to change the way that you think about it. Have you ever done that talk where you try and speak as little as possible? Have you ever been in that environment where, you'll know this, as soon as you go to the Q&A, everyone relaxes and people start talking to you? This is where I want you to start your presentations. Maybe try one this week where you open up to the floor first. I, in fact, did it last week. It's a technique that I use from time to time. I had to give a 20 minutes, half an hour presentation about what the presenter coach does. And it just didn't feel like long enough. I wasn't overly clear on the audience that I was going to be with when I got there. And I didn't feel comfortable just going in and going, this is what we do, because I knew that was going to get me nowhere. So I thought, right, I've got the performance pyramid methodology. I've got the clap methodology. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk in and I'm going to start by asking them a question. The question was, so tell me about your speaking experiences. The floor opened up. We had a good chat. And in every time someone came to me with something, I just had that little bit of, I've got a story I can tell here. I've got an example I can give here. And what that does is it creates that two-way conversation and it relaxes the room. Now, of course, you may have a great message that you want to land. And that great message can be delivered in a way that you steer the questions, or it can be delivered in the way that someone will ask you something or someone will say something that means that you can land that message. Or you can take everything that's been discussed over the 10, 15, 20 minutes, which is what I did, and then delivered the message that I wanted to deliver because I knew they understood and they were on side with me. I felt like they connected with me. They felt like they connected with me back, or they felt like I'd connected with them because I'd listened to them and I'd listened to the room a little bit and I'd allowed that space to open up and I'd held the space. And the point is that as soon as that audience is in with you, you have connected and you have engaged and you're taking them along with you. So my biggest tip to you this week, if I could give you a speaker workout to work on this week when you're doing your presentations, it's to think about how do you acknowledge the audience at the beginning. Now, you can play them a massive compliment. You could tell them a great story, but I want you to think about, how do I get the audience involved? How do I get them to speak before I've even landed my real core message? Let me know how you get on. Remember, in every presentation that you do, it's not really about you. It's really about how you can bring the audience in and let the audience in. And I'm telling you now, I know that you sort of know this and you want some interaction, but have you ever been brave enough to stand in front of an audience and rather than start your talk, just get them to talk to you? Try it, see what happens, see where you end up, and I bet you'll find a great result. At the Presenter Coach, we really believe that great communication will change your life, it'll change your business, it'll change your culture, and it'll make your day a lot easier. So we like you to practice every single week, and this week, this speaker workout is all about letting your audience in. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel and make sure that you sign up to the Presenter Coach mailing list at thepresentercoach.co.uk. Scroll to the bottom, you can fill it in there. I'll be back again next week with another video tip for you. In the meantime, have a great week. And remember, as I said, great communication will change your life, including the way you talk to yourself.